If you ask my family to describe me, they'd probably say something like, "Oh, Ariel, she's dependable," which is family code for, "She doesn't complain when we walk all over her." My name is Ariel Taylor. I was 25 when I finally understood that being quiet doesn't make you loved, it just makes you easier to ignore. Growing up, I was the calm daughter, not shy, just filtered. And I learned early that in the Taylor house, volume beat logic every time. My older sister Erica was all volume, the kind of person who could sing off key at full blast and still get applause just for looking confident, while I was the one quietly fixing the microphone stand so it didn't fall over. My parents adored her. I used to think it was because she was older, a 2-year head start on favoritism, but it wasn't that simple. Erica had a way of turning chaos into something charming. She got suspended for throwing a chair in 9th grade, and they called it passion. I brought home an A+ and got asked why I didn't try harder to stand out. I noticed everything. The way my mom's voice softened when she said Erica's name. The way my dad always gave her the last slice, even when I asked first. The love wasn't gone, just uneven. And I learned to live in the quiet half of it. The inheritance came from my great-aunt Elise, a woman who smelled like cinnamon gum and wore mismatched shoes on purpose. She left me just under $60,000 with a note that said, "For your future. Not a car, not a party, something that lasts." I hadn't even cashed it. It sat in a drawer in my tiny studio apartment, something I looked at when work felt heavy, or when my water heater made that hollow, clunking sound like it had lived a longer life than me. Then, one Tuesday, my phone buzzed. My mom. "Hey, honey, don't freak out, but we used some of your inheritance money." I thought I misheard. I even checked my phone like the word used might change into something else. It didn't. They spent it. On Erica. On a boat. A 32-foot boat named Savannah, bought from some guy online who couldn't spell guarantee. I just sat there staring at my microwave like it might explain what was happening. "You used my inheritance for a boat?" I asked. "Technically, it's a family asset," she said, like that made it better. "And you don't even like water, Ariel." I could feel my chest tightening. "It wasn't your money. Or hers." She sighed like I was being difficult. "We thought this way everyone benefits." Everyone meant Erica and her boyfriend Mason, who liked to talk about business ideas he never followed through on. I didn't yell. I didn't make a scene. I just listened while she explained that Erica needed a win, that the money was just sitting there, that it made sense. I hung up without saying goodbye. The next time I saw Erica, she was wearing white boat shoes and mirrored sunglasses, like she had stepped into a different life overnight. "You have to see her," she said, grabbing my arm. "She's a beast." "She?" I asked. "The boat. Savannah." She gave me a full tour like she owned something more than fiberglass and bad decisions, pointing out the chrome, the fake wood, even a tiny wine fridge stocked with bottles that looked more decorative than drinkable. "She sleeps 4, Erica said proudly. "The boat sleeps?" I asked. "Weekend trips, overnight vibes, you need to think bigger," she told me. I smiled, but inside I could only think about Aunt Elise's note, about the future that had been quietly taken from me and turned into something floating. My parents loved it. My mom started using boat terms like she had trained for it. My dad called it a smart investment and told me I'd understand when I had real responsibilities. Meanwhile, I was working 50 hours a week, trying to fix my brakes and keep my life steady. Erica had a wine fridge on the ocean. I had a fridge that rattled when I opened it too fast. The worst part wasn't even the money. It was how quickly everyone decided I didn't have the right to be upset. Every time I hinted at it, someone shut it down, told me not to be petty, reminded me it wasn't that serious. Like my future had just been a suggestion. Thanksgiving was where it broke. We were all packed into my parents' house, pretending the food wasn't dry and everything was normal. Erica stood up with a glass of wine and smiled like she had earned something. "To family," she said. "Especially Mom and Dad, for believing in me and helping me chase my dream." My hand froze mid-motion. Believing in her? They took from me and called it belief. Everyone clapped. My cousin looked emotional. Mason leaned in close to Erica like she had just won something. I didn't clap. I didn't speak. I just sat there staring at her glass, imagining it tipping just enough to leave a mark that wouldn't wash out. Instead, I stood up and walked outside. The cold air hit me hard, but it felt real, and for the first time all night, I could breathe. That's when it clicked. Not slowly, not gently, but all at once. They hadn't just overlooked me. They had rewritten the story without me in it. And if I wanted anything to change, I couldn't keep waiting for them to notice I was missing. For a while, it actually looked like Erica was living the dream, or at least pretending well enough that everyone else believed it. Her social media turned into a carefully filtered shrine to Savannah. Every post washed in the same ocean blue tone, with captions about freedom, hustle, and building something bigger. My mom shared every photo like it was a family achievement. My dad bragged to relatives like Erica had launched a company instead of docking a liability. I was still in the background, literally, in the Christmas card they sent out that year. Erica stood front and center in front of the boat, arms crossed, chin lifted, while I was caught mid-blink in the corner holding a folding chair. The caption read, "The Taylors, anchored in love." I almost laughed when I saw it. Almost. But things started to crack, quietly at first, the way real problems do. Erica missed a Marina payment, then another. She brushed it off when I overheard her talking about it one night, said it was cash flow timing, like she had any flow to begin with. Then the engine needed repairs. Then a rental guest damaged part of the deck. Then someone got sick on board and left a smell that apparently no amount of essential oils could fix. Mason tried to spin it as a temporary setback, kept talking about scaling the experience business, but even from the outside, it was obvious nothing about it was stable. It wasn't a dream. It was a slow leak. By April, Erica stopped posting. By May, the Marina had started sending notices, real ones, certified mail, late fees, warnings that didn't come with filters or captions. By June, the tone had shifted completely. That's when my mom called me again, not to apologize, not to acknowledge what they had done. She asked if I knew anyone who could help Erica out of her situation. I sat there in my apartment, staring at the same drawer where Elise's envelope used to be, and let the silence stretch just long enough to make it uncomfortable. "You want me to help her with the money you took from me to help her?" I asked. She sighed, like I was the one making it complicated. "When you say it like that, it sounds manipulative." I let out a small laugh. "I didn't say it, I just repeated it." She didn't like that. She called me sensitive. For the first time, I corrected her. "No, I've just been quiet. There's a difference." I didn't give her an answer. I just said I'd think about it and ended the call. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my couch, eating cold leftovers, rereading Elise's note over and over. Something that lasts. I looked around my apartment, small, imperfect, but mine. And for the first time, I stopped thinking about what had been taken from me and started thinking about what was still in my control. I picked up my phone and called the Marina. Just to ask questions. That's what I told myself. Hypothetical questions. What happens if someone doesn't pay? How long before action is taken? What happens to the dock space? The woman on the phone was calm, almost too calm, like she already knew I wasn't just curious. She explained that unpaid slips are eventually reclaimed, and once they are, they go back on the market. Clean slate. First come, first served. I hung up and stared at the ceiling for a long time. I didn't plan anything dramatic. There was no moment where I decided to get revenge. It didn't feel like that. It felt quiet, practical, like filling out paperwork that should have been mine to begin with. I contacted the Marina again the next day, spoke to the office manager, a woman named Claire who walked me through everything step by step. I didn't need to buy the boat, just the slip, the space itself. The one thing Erica assumed would always be hers. Apparently, there was a waiting list for spots like that, years long. But reclaimed slips moved faster. I paid the overdue balance, with what was left of my inheritance. The part they hadn't noticed I still had. Then, I waited. Meanwhile, Erica spiraled in the way she always did, loudly enough to sound confident. She started texting me again. Random things at first. Jokes, motivational quotes, things about mindset and turning tides. I ignored them. Then came the group chat message. Just a little mix-up with the Marina. Everything's fine. I didn't respond. I already knew it wasn't. The final notice went out quietly. No announcement, no dramatic warning. Just a piece of paper taped to a post at the dock. Erica didn't post about that, but her ex-friend Lila, who she'd had a falling out with months earlier, did upload a vague story about karma docking on time. It didn't take long for things to unravel completely. One afternoon, my phone rang. Erica. I let it ring once, twice, then answered. "They locked me out," she said immediately, her voice tight in a way I had never heard before. "The slip's gone. I don't even know what's happening." I leaned back slowly. "Did you pay your fees?" "I was going to," she snapped. "I had a plan." I paused just long enough. Plans don't always float. Silence. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" she said, quieter now. I thought about it for a second. Not long, just enough to be honest. "I'm not enjoying it. I'm just watching." She hung up after that. A few days later, I went to the Marina to finalize everything. Claire handed me the documents with a small smile. "Congratulations, you're now the official tenant of slip C11. I nodded, signed, and took the papers without saying much. She looked at me curiously. "Most people get slips for boats." I gave a small shrug. "I don't have one." "Then what's the plan?" she asked. I thought about it for a second. "Space," I said simply. "Something that lasts." When I stepped out onto the dock, the boat was still there, gently rocking like it didn't realize it had already lost its place. It would be gone soon. Reclaimed, resold, forgotten. But the slip, the exact piece of space it occupied, that was mine now, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was standing in someone else's shadow. Savannah was towed away on a humid Tuesday morning. No ceremony, no dignity. Just ropes, metal, and the slow grind of something being taken back. I was already there when it happened, sitting on a bench near the edge of the dock, with an iced coffee in my hand, like I was waiting for nothing in particular. Erica showed up late, running, her sandals slapping against the wood, shouting before she even got close. "That's my boat!" she yelled, voice cracking in a way that didn't sound like her at all. The workers didn't stop. They didn't even look at her. To them, it wasn't a dream being dragged away, just another unpaid asset being cleared out. She stood there frozen as the trailer pulled forward, like something inside her had finally caught up with reality. Then she turned and saw me. For a second, we just stared at each other. No shouting, no scene. I raised my cup slightly. Not a toast, not an apology, just acknowledgement. She looked like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. She turned and walked away instead, faster this time, like distance could undo what had already happened. By that afternoon, the group chat was alive again. My mom asking how this could happen, my dad talking about what can be done, messages layered with urgency like the problem had only just become real. I didn't reply. 3 hours later, my dad called. I answered, let him speak first. He sounded tired in a way I didn't recognize. "This situation with Erica, it's serious," he said carefully. "We invested a lot into that." I didn't raise my voice. "You mean my money?" Silence filled the space between us. He tried to soften it, reframe it, call it a misunderstanding, a mistake made with good intentions. I listened until he ran out of words. Then I said, "I'm not holding a grudge. I'm holding the slip." He didn't understand at first. Then he did. The pause that followed felt heavier than anything he'd ever said to me before. You bought it?" I didn't explain. I didn't need to. "Quietly," I said, and ended the call before he could reshape the narrative again. After that, the messages changed tone. My mom became softer, almost careful with her words. My dad tried logic, then guilt, then silence. Erica didn't text again. Not after one message that just said, "Still mad?" Like everything could be reduced to a mood. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. That Saturday, I went back to the Marina early, before the noise, before the movement, before anyone else claimed the morning. Slip C11 sat empty, just a stretch of wood and rope touching water that didn't care about anyone's mistakes. I didn't bring a boat. I brought a chair. The same cheap folding chair I'd owned for years, slightly worn, barely noticeable, but steady. I set it down at the edge, sat, and let the quiet settle in around me. No expectations, no one watching, just space that was finally mine. For a long time, I didn't think about my family at all. I watched the water shift in small patterns, listened to distant engines, let the breeze undo the tension I didn't realize I'd been carrying for years. When my phone started buzzing in my bag, I didn't check it. I already knew what it would say. "Let's talk. We're still family." "You've made your point." That word again. Family. Like it could cover everything if they repeated it enough. I used to wait for it to mean something. I don't anymore. A week later, my dad came to my apartment. No call ahead, just a knock at the door and a look on his face I had never seen before. Not anger. Not pride. Something quieter. He sat across from me at the small table, hands folded like he wasn't sure what to do with them. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then he said it, simple, flat. "We failed you." No excuses, no story attached, just the truth, stripped down. I let it sit there between us. He talked about how easy it had been to rely on me, the one who didn't push back, the one who didn't demand attention. How that turned into overlooking me entirely. Not because I didn't matter, he said, but because I didn't make it obvious when I did. I listened, but I didn't fill in the gaps for him anymore. He slid a check across the table. Blank. "It won't fix anything," he said. I looked at it, then pushed it back toward him. "I know," I answered. "That's why it doesn't matter." For the first time, he didn't argue. He just nodded, like he understood that this wasn't about numbers anymore. Before he left, he looked around my apartment, small, imperfect, real. "You built something," he said quietly. I nodded once. "Yeah. It just doesn't float." After he left, I went back to the drawer where Elisa's envelope used to sit. I placed something new inside it. A photo I had printed earlier that day. Me, sitting at the edge of slip C11, chair in place, water stretching out behind me. No filters, no audience. Just proof. Not of revenge, not even of winning. Just of standing still and not being moved anymore. I understood her note now. Something that lasts was never about money or objects or even security. It was about choosing yourself when no one else does. It was about not folding, not shouting, not chasing approval that was never going to come. It was about building something quiet and keeping it, even when no one else sees the value in it. The slip stayed empty. I never bought a boat. I didn't need one. What I needed was already there, steady and unquestioned, something no one could take from me because no one else understood it well enough to try. And for the first time, that was enough.